Welcome to the last Ask Us Marketing of the year. And I am Callie with Callie Collective, a digital marketing agency serving advisors using data-driven services to help you connect with your target audience. This episode is brought to you, like all of our other episodes, by the Financial Planning Association, otherwise known as the FPA. FPA provides fantastic support, education, and advocacy. Advocacy for advisors like you. And yes, we are live. So when I have these fumbles, you will hear them. And yes, that is Christmas music you hear in the background because, as I stated, this is the last A.U.M of the year, and we're celebrating Christmas. Okay, so today we are talking about, there's Lego, our newest family member. I don't know if you could hear him barking. Today we're talking about the 10 mistakes that advisors make. Now, these aren't necessarily the top 10 mistakes or even the most common. These are just ones that we see that we want to go over how you can avoid them today. So I'm going to list out the 10 mistakes that we see advisors make, and then we're going to go into each one and talk about how you can avoid it. Once I start going into each one, I'm going to be interacting with the comments. So if there is one of these listed that you've made this mistake or are making it, please let us know, and we can work through it today on this call. You'll see what I mean as I get going. So top 10. Advisors, they don't track the data. That's number one. Number two, they're overwhelmed and they don't move forward. Also remember, these are not in order. This is just 10 in random order. Number three, advisors, they don't give marketing enough time because they're looking for a magic bullet. Number four, they're not optimizing their accounts. Number five, they are hands-off and expecting their voice to be nailed in their content. Number six, not defining their objectives. Number seven, not defining their audience. Number eight, no list of leads, or if there is a list of leads, they're not nurturing them. Number nine, there's no consistency in their branding. And number 10, there's nothing personal in their content. So let's dive into each of these and talk about what you can do to avoid them. And thank you, Derek. Happiest of holidays to you as well. So let's start with don't track data. This one is easier said than done because let me tell you, we include data tracking as part of our services, and it's time consuming. It takes hours. We don't use any fancy software to do our data tracking. All of it is provided through the platforms themselves, or if it's on the website, we're using Google Analytics. So it's all free resources that you can use to be tracking your data. But like I said, it is time consuming. If anyone on here has questions on how you can track data, we actually have a video, although it is a bit old now, and some of the buttons may not be in the same place. However, we have a video on how we track data, and we can answer any questions as you're trying to figure out what you should be paying attention to. Things that we pay attention to for our clients, we look at engagement. Are people engaging with the content? We find that more relevant than reach, because reach is how many people you get in front of. However, we also do track reach because we are paying for advertising, and we want to make sure that we're seeing an increase in views. We also track on the website what pages people are going to, So we know what content is resonating and how long they're staying on the pages. You'd be surprised how many people are only going to your website for 30 seconds, which is why the design and the copywriting are so important, because you need to hook them within as first 10 seconds, really. Okay, moving on to number 2, feeling overwhelmed. So we like to say to channel your inner sloth if you're feeling overwhelmed. Focus on what your result is and only do things that are going to get you to that result. Other things that the sloth does, they are prolific. So, which, yes, it is surprising. But you'll just have to hear my talk on why you should channel your inner sloth to know how I even know that a sloth is prolific. Other things, they focus on their goals. They're prolific, and I'm blanking on number 3. Again, you can tell that I'm live. Let's see. Oh, focus on being yourself. Duh. What makes you unique? Sloth doesn't care if you think it's a male or female. It's just going to be what it is. And this goes back to my story about my dad owning an exotic pet shop and what we thought was a male sloth having a baby. That sloth did not care if I thought it was a male. It was a female and it had a baby. I need to get rid of this QR code so I can see your comments here. Awesome. Thank you, Derek. I'm glad you're here, Derek, and Merry Christmas to you. Okay, now we are looking at number 3, not giving it enough time and looking for the magic bullet. These kind of go hand in hand. I've found that many advisors are looking for, as I said, the magic bullet, something that is just going to achieve your results immediately. We call this shiny object syndrome. So as soon as you see something new, you drop what you're doing and you go for that new thing because, hey, it's working for this person, or they said I'm going to get 100 new leads. Unfortunately, there is no magic bullet, or Derek and I would be very wealthy because we would know exactly what to do to get you in front of your audience. Not to say that we don't know what to do, but there is trial and error. There's trial and error in marketing, and if somebody tells you there's not, then they haven't been doing it long enough, or they're lying to you. So what we've told many people is to give it 18 months. In fact, a lot of our contracts with our clients are for 12 months for this very reason, because it takes time. You have to get established. You have to set up your branding and your strategy. And hey, I'm getting attacked by dogs, and it's time for everybody to meet our newest family member, Lego. Here, Lego. Meet Lego, 5-year-old standard poodle. He just joined our family about 2.5 weeks ago now. And then behind him, you can see her little fluffy head back here is Clementine. So they are having fun trying to wrestle. I thought I'd bring them in on this. Okay, so no magic bullet. Unfortunately, it takes time and consistency. Next, number 4 is optimizing accounts. Again, this is something that a lot of people don't do. It's why we include it in our services, a lot of our services. We get it, we get you started off, right? So I'll go over a few things that we see are missed in optimizing accounts. The first one is going to be your profile image. So if you think about your logos most of the time are rectangles. But what shape is your profile picture? Is either a circle or a square. So one of the first things we're doing for our clients is taking that logo and making it into a square or circle version. One of the other things would be up at the top on both LinkedIn and Facebook, you can have a tagline. And then a lot of it is just filling out the profile as much as you can. So if you go to LinkedIn, in fact, if you go to the Cali Collective company page, and it's one to the third block down says want to learn more. And then there's a button, get started. So this is actually a section of your LinkedIn profile that you can add where you can add a call to action and have a button that takes you somewhere. So for us, we've connected it to our Calendly. But this would be a great place if you have some sort of downloadable that you want to capture leads from, or a lead magnet, as some people say. Okay, some other things that I've seen people not do on their profiles, and that's the biggest one, is just filling it out as much as you can. Checking it periodically. They're always adding new features. And linking them together. So, does your Facebook have links to your LinkedIn and Instagram and YouTube? Just connecting all of them. Okay, number 5, being hands off and expecting your voice email. This is one that we see. I won't say frequently. I usually see two different kinds. Either somebody is completely hands off, or they're a little too hands on and they're micromanaging and doing everything themselves. It's a balance for sure, and finding that balance is important. But you can't expect whoever you're working with, even if it's somebody internally who works in your office, you can't expect them to nail your voice if you aren't talking to them. That's the best way to say it. Can't nail your voice if you don't talk to them. So that's a pretty easy fix. Right, Lego? He's got opinions here. Number 6, not defining objectives. To be clear here, I'm talking about those micro commitments along the way. So obviously, we all want to grow our businesses. That should be pretty straightforward if you're going to a marketing company, that you're there to grow your business. But breaking that down is going to be extremely helpful, not only for you, but for the marketing professional that you're working with. So what I mean by that is, if you are expecting to get a lot of phone calls from prospects, then that should be communicated. So yes, maybe you have a great lead magnet and you're getting emails. Maybe that's not important to you. Maybe what's important to you is getting those calls. So it needs to be very clearly defined. If somebody knows that your objective is getting more calls, then we can find out and come up with strategies to get people to call you. Number 7, not defining your audience. This I see all the time. A lot of advisors know who they work with, know who they want to work with, but very few have taken the time to write it down and clearly state who that is. So, what age are they? Is it mostly male or female? Do they live in a specific area? Maybe they're all within 10 miles of your office. And even just as important, if not more important, what are their psychographics? How are they thinking about things? What is their fear? What is it that gives them joy? What are they posting about on social media? These are the things that if you can define, it makes it so much easier to target those people. Um, so defining your audience is a big one, and we do get pushback pretty frequently. Well, I'll work with anybody within the country. That's fine, but if your ideal client would be 10 miles from your office, then let's highlight that in the content because there's always a chance that somebody is going to find you who's outside of that bullseye. But let's define that bullseye and then create all of your content for the bullseye clients. Number 8, no list of leads and no nurturing lead or no nurturing leads. So either you don't have an email list of your prospects, or if you do, you're not reaching out to them. That one's a pretty easy fix if you have the list and you're not reaching out to them. Getting the list of leads can be a little bit more challenging. So as you are creating a list of names, make it a top priority to also get their email address. Next is a no consistency in branding. We've seen this where either you're not using the same language or you're not using the same graphics and colors and logos, or if I look at one document and I look at another document, it needs to be very clear to me that it's coming from the same place. If I say McDonald's, what's the first thing you think of? Golden arches, right? You see those golden arches everywhere. Yeah, and I can almost guarantee the people who are working for McDonald's are like, ugh, if I see another golden arch. But that is some strong branding. And that's what you want to create with your branding. So yeah, sometimes you get sick of looking at that same logo or that same icon and color, but by golly, people are gonna remember it. And yes, Derek, I agree. He's quoting Meredith Hill here. When you speak to everyone, you speak to no one. That's going back to defining your audience and tailoring to your bullseye clients, not the whole target. And then number 10 here, we have not getting personal in your content. That is one of the mistakes I see, and it's very easily corrected. Something that we've recommended to people in the past is actually just putting an alert on your phone to check your pictures from that weekend. What did you do that weekend? I know it may seem like nobody cares, but they absolutely do. I'd say I'm trying to think of the numbers, but can't. It's more than double. People are going to engage with your personal content over your educational content. Not to say you shouldn't have educational content, you should, because we don't want to just, be chasing numbers. We want those clients, but you want to pair it. Usually, what we say is a 70-30 mix, 70% educational and 30% personal. So yes, what did you do that weekend? Hey, I just showed you Lego, our new family member. How much do you feel like you know me better because I've done that? You want to know the people you're working with. One of the ways I say this to newer clients who are struggling with getting personal is prove to me that you are not a robot, because we're in a new age and we don't know if we're talking to a real person or an AI bot anymore. So let's prove that we're real people. I have a live show. As you've seen me fumble over my words today, it's very clear I am not a 100% perfect AI bot. You've seen my dog. I'm bringing in those personal aspects. I'm showing you I'm just a real person here. And that's what people want to see. If they wanted to work with a robot, they're going to go to a robo advisor. Um, Great. We've gone through all 10. I've given you some ideas on how you can avoid making these mistakes. Um, and if you're wondering how your marketing is doing, take our quiz here and get your marketing scorecard. Find out how you're scoring. Just scan this QR code and it will take you to the quiz. It's less than 2 minutes. It really doesn't take long. And it's going to give you how you're rating and what you can do to increase that score. Um, hey, thanks, Derek, for being engaged in this live stream today. And Merry Christmas to everybody who's watching this now or watching this in the future. And don't hesitate to reach out. We are changing our email in 2025. We'll be going back to a monthly newsletter. And if you want to get that newsletter, that's always hard to do. It's right there, that QR code. Something else that we're doing coming 2025, we are offering our consult and coordinate package. This is great if kind of like that scorecard, only we're going to go way more in depth and we're going to do a lot of the work for you, where we're digging in, we're seeing how your numbers are performing and what your goals are, and then coming up with a strategy for you so that you can achieve those goals. And then it's up to you how you want to implement them. So I would definitely recommend checking out that service coming 2025, especially if you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do next year. Make sure you check it out. So Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and join us in January. We'll be talking about what to say in your automated email nurture sequences with Eli Delaney. Hopefully I said his last name right. So until then, have a great week.